let's start in North London. Chelsea against Spurs. Chelsea losing 2-0. 6 games without a win. The last time that happened it was in 2012-13. We'll get to Chelsea, but how about my man Christian Stellini? Winning again.
Him. I know.
Conte's head exploding somewhere in Turin where he's still recovering. This is a really big win for Spurs.
Huge win for that race for top 4. Of course, they go back to 4. They've got 2 games in hand over Newcastle, but still very significant.
Newcastle have 2 games in hand.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. They've played 2 more games. 3 home wins in a row now. City, West Ham, and Chelsea now. 3 difficult games, really. 2 London derbies, keeping the same starting 11 than they did against West Ham, which means that Son Heung-min was a super sub again. Not sure I agree with that, but he's working. And they were very solid, nothing exceptional. There was nothing in the way they played. They were just kept their shape well, very solid. And I think they knew that at some point Chelsea would mess things up and that they could exploit some of Chelsea's weaknesses, which is exactly what happened.
A lot of things went wrong for Chelsea. Thiago Silva, of course, going off injured.
Yeah.
There's a broader Graham Potter issue. I mean, we even saw Aubameyang at one point, just throw everything at the wall. I suppose if it's Aubameyang, it's not David Datro Fofana, so that's something.
Yeah.
But the reality now is Chelsea have a bunch of home games coming up, so that's good. What's bad is it still 2 wins in 15 games? Yeah. I mean, these numbers, like they've scored 23 goals in 24 games this season, fewer than Erling Haaland on his own.
They've got a negative goal difference.
I mean, can you wrap your head around it?
I don't think it's only on Potter. It's all on him, certainly. But I think he doesn't help himself when he takes off Joao Felix, who's clearly been Chelsea's best player in the game. Not just in this game, like since he arrived really at the club, bar the red card, I guess, against Fulham.
Games he didn't play because he got so stupidly sent off.
Yeah, true. But when he's played, and even yesterday he was the most lively, the only one trying to make something happen. The others was just an addition of individuals, really, on that pitch. There was no cohesion, which is on Potter. His substitutions are wrong. Even his starting 11, to a certain degree, you can really wonder what's going on there. I mean, I see nothing from Reece. You've got 2 of the best fullbacks in the country, and yet you don't use them really like you should. Because there's no plan in place.
Chilwell
and James,
who's been Chilwell, who's been injured, and
it doesn't matter. They're fit now. They play. They're the two of the best fullbacks in the country, and you don't utilize their strength. Like Reece James, there's just nothing in that game. What annoys me, there's no overlaps. There's no plan. All you do is give the ball. I give the ball to you. See what you can do. You give the ball back to me. I see what I can do. There's just nothing collectively in that team, and that's on him.
That's actually one of the points that I find most mystifying, right? Because you mentioned Joao Felix. I made my thoughts on this guy, clear many, many times.
Yeah, it's expensive, but he's good for them.
He's a very gifted footballer. The problem is Potter is supposed to be all about collective and stuff, and kind of like making the whole greater than some of the parts and different parts interacting. If the plan is just to give the ball to him and wait for him to do something, I don't need Potter to do that. I can get any schlub who goes and says, all right, you guys defend, give the ball to Joao Felix, you guys run off and wait for him to do something, right? And that's not a plan, especially when this guy's on loan.
Yeah.
Right? And you know what? You can pretend, Chelsea owners, that, but George Mendes is a great businessman, he's my friend, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. If Joao Felix has a storming 6 months, you're going to have to pay through the nose for him if you want to keep him. That's the reality of it.
Yeah.
That's what I really struggle with. But the question many Chelsea fans are asking, should they just sack him now?
Right now, Gab, I don't, you might not agree with me. I don't see how this can improve. Yeah, you play Leeds at home in the next game, and you'll have a week to prepare because
you decided to let somebody else win the FA Cup this year.
Yeah. So you can say, let's wait at Stamford Bridge on at the weekend against Leeds. Okay, maybe you can, but then even a win then would not solve everything. Yeah, okay, it will buy you a bit of time.
What's your definition of solving everything?
My issue is that you can wait to see. Okay, give him a bit more time, and then we see his methods is going to come through. I'm just not sure. I'm not even sure that's the case. I just think this club is too big for him.
I see no reason to sack Graham Potter now in terms of risk.
What's the reason to keep him?
Advantage.
What's the reason to keep him?
I will tell you that on the Gab and Juls podcast. We're also going to be talking about VAR, some of the other implications, and a little bit more about Tottenham and Skippy.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.